Okay. Let's go. It's gonna be a very busy 2 weeks coming up, it looks like, with so many pay-per-views happening and a lot of shows going. In a way, we got a pay-per-view right now we're gonna talk about here. Been a while since we talked about this promotion. It's gonna be a lot of things to say about this pay-per-view from Saturday, April 11th, TNA Wrestling, Rebellion, Cleveland, Ohio. And there's so many things I could say about Cleveland and probably make a whole bunch of jokes about of how bad it is and talked about how they couldn't sell out SummerSlam a few years ago, but that's besides the point. We are here today though to talk about TNA Rebellion. What was that? At the Wolston Center, I believe. So first, let my co-host introduce himself before we get into this review of this pay-per-view.
Oh, yo, this straight face 40 back on here talking about TNA. We got a lot of things to say about the pay-per-view and some things to say about the promotion itself. But here we go again.
Yes, because here we go. Let's actually kick it off with the pre-show real quick. It was only one pre-show match. It was Ryan Nemeth versus BDE. Ryan Nemeth basically being from Cleveland, Ohio. He basically talked about how his family were out front and how they went to sporting events and whatnot, and basically talked about his theater performances and what he's done. But then he had Pittsburgh Steelers gear on, in which the people booed, and it said Buns of Steel on the back. Uh, so trying to get heat from the crowd right there. He went against BDE. I know the story with BDE. He's still trying to get his first win in TNA wrestling and what they've still been building to. There was a pretty good match to kick off the show. I know BDE hit a big frog splash and whatnot, but Nemeth was able to roll his way out of the ring. Then he ended up clotheslining BDE over like the top rope and then hit his finisher within the ring on him, which he basically boasted and everything, and posed in front of his like parents and stuff. Ryan Nemeth. So it was like I said, it was an okay match. Nemeth just trying to get some cheap heat out there, and like I said, the story with BDE is still trying to get his first singles win in TNA wrestling.
Yeah, I ain't seen the pre-show match though, but I I'm kind of liking the storyline what they doing with BDE. Trying to get he was trying to fight to get that first win. It's a little different what you want to do. What you want to do with a young superstar. I mean, not a superstar, but a young up and comer because you can see he got something in him. You get what I'm saying? He got some Javon S in him. You know what I'm saying? But do you like the route that they went trying to get him his first win? And then after he get his first win, he go on a winning streak after getting his first win?
I don't know if he goes on a winning streak, whatnot. I do like the story, what they're doing. Like I said, he just got here. And listen, I've seen the guy on YouTube before, and good that I'm glad he kind of got into this company and whatnot. Because I was actually surprised he was part of the roster, when I first heard. But yeah, they're taking a time with him, and they didn't want to give him the pay-per-view win right now. So I think it may happen on like a live edition of Impact, or maybe on a different pay-per-view at a later date. So I don't know if it'd be a winning streak right after. But I like what they're doing right now. So they should just take their time with him. Take your time with him right now.
I feel like no, because what I asked that because like you know after he get that first win, it should be like a string lower card opponents that he could knock out or he could wrestle some locals coming in when they go into town or something when I feel like eh, after this after this, he should uh, at least two, three more matches that he should win. You want to build them up nicely. For the for the future because you really don't have any. You really low on mid carders and upper mid carders. You low on a lot of things, and you should be accelerating this a little bit. Not fast, but you should be picking it up a little bit, trying to create new stars.
True, because like I get the slow burn approach. You don't want to make it too slow, but I guess how long has he really been in this company? Like what, a couple months maybe. I know he tagged with Rich Swann and stuff. I know he had a match with Nick Nemeth not that long ago. So I get what you're saying. You don't want to, wait too long. But like I'm not mad. I don't think it's been that slow. Like I said, he just got here, but I think it's okay right now.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. And I do agree, but you know, I just think after the first win, he should go on. But yeah, I do agree on that. You should take your time. You don't want to botch the come up.
Yeah, you don't want to botch it. So take your time until like, I feel like enough people get behind them that that big win is gonna mean something. So I say wait on it for right now. Like give it time. Also in the pre-show, I know they had like the hometown man give out like shirts. Now this is something we really want to talk about right here because I know they had like a panel with like what was it, Matthew Redwald, Tom Hannafin, Daria Ray, and we'll get to Silva here. This, the so-called president here. We're gonna get to him in a second because I know they had Eric Young out there talking about Ricky Sosa because he pile drove them on last Thursday's Impact. So, he's put him in the hospital and he talked about EC3. We'll get to him later on. Have you gotten a chance to see Ricky Sosa yet by any chance? Since, his entrance is so big on the internet and I guess TNA, they signed the guy. So obviously they're taking advantage of his popularity, it looks like on the internet right now. Have you gotten a chance to watch him?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen a match yet. With him. The only time I really saw when they brought him out when they first signed him. When they brought him out there.
Because he's his entrance, bang bang, Sosa Sosa, which I know some people may not like or feel like I didn't know he was from Belgium, so some people thought he was like kind of like a culture vulture almost. Because it's so funny. I asked people this, and somebody said like, when did Chief keep getting to wrestling? Because Sosa, bang bang. If anybody from Chicago would know that, obviously,
Yeah.
but that's what a lot of people was thinking about. But yeah, you got to check him out. But one thing before we actually get into the real pay-per-view, let's talk about the president here, Carlos Silva, because when he came out there on the pre-show, you could hear people booing him and chanting MJF at him.
Get out of here. I did not. Because I didn't watch the pre-show. I should have watched it. My goodness, I should have watched it. I always, I always decide not to give any type of pre-show a chance. But I should have heard that one because here's the thing: he deserved it. You deserve it for real. Man. Like the way and the how you been acting, you pull your wrestlers out of these some of these events and stuff like that. You deserve all of that, bro.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a lot of people. It was some fans booing. They were very vocal. You could hear it, and there were a few MJF chants. Listen, we talked about this guy before. You've heard me talk about him pretty badly, and I feel like this is more evidence to it. Because my thing is this, because I know people are gonna bring up, well, and listen, I get it. I've seen companies take wrestlers off of shows before. Okay, that's nothing new. But I guess whatever some policy thing you got going on now that because here's the thing, a lot of these matches are already signed with books. So like we know about Nick Nemeth and MJF. I know Leon Slater was supposed to go against I think Ricochet and I think Moose was signed on to like ML what was that Maple Leaf thing. The one Scott D'Amore runs, but I think they they're now in bed with AEW, so I think Scott D'Amore is like working with them now. And the fact that this guy, like, these matches are already booked, and now you just take them off at the last second with, a few days. Like, it was like, a lot of these matches are coming up, like, in the next week or two. And everybody's kind of looking at it now, like, what is the reason behind this? He's talking about, like, a new policy and stuff. And I didn't think it'd make a lot of sense. And a lot of people don't feel like this is on him because some would think that, okay, you don't want your wrestlers losing like that. Because some say, like, oh, we don't want them losing to AEW guys, even though they kind of went against AEW guys on there before. And a lot of people kind of wonder who's really like making these type of decisions, him or the WWE or TKO. A lot of people feel like somebody there got in his ear and told him to do that. I've talked about this guy before. I don't think he knows really much about wrestling. He's a business guy. Okay. He is a business guy. I don't think he personally should be on the show. And trust me, I'm gonna get into him more later on because he is on this show a lot. But I've talked about him. I've talked about his off-brand hat. Listen, I give credit for the bigger crowds and stuff, and AMC and the TV deal and stuff. But it's like you just a puppet, and that's why a lot of people feel like I don't know. He just you feel like you WWE's bitch right now, basically. And it's like so, and that's what a lot of people kind of point out too. So you don't want your guys losing to AEW guys, and maybe you want to keep people exclusive because that's been done in wrestling before. But you okay losing the fucking D League people on NXT developmental? And don't get me wrong, we talked about the AEW Impact partnership before. Here's the thing though, this guy wasn't around when this happened. Scott D'Amore was. I could kind of understand if Scott D'Amore was doing this in a way, but this guy didn't get here till like what? When they fired Scott D'Amore right after they brought TNA back, and then they brought this guy in, and like I said, a lot of people call him President Cuckold right there because they feel like you just WWE's bitch, and that's why a lot of people feel like you're just. I think that's what people question. Like the minute they got in bed with WWE, and I question this too. The minute they got in bed with WWE, I always knew it's like you can't really trust this all the way. And I know a lot of people gonna put out examples out there of just with the titles and NXT people always taking them and obviously Joe Hendry back at WrestleMania, everybody talked about jobbing out the TNA World Champion last year, even though it was like what, I think it was like 6 minutes of it, I think, but still it's a lot of things that that's been talked about in this, and you've heard me say this before, this quote unquote partnership, which I use that term very loosely sometimes. So it's like, and like I said, we've seen other people talk about him, and I'm sure you've read some of the quotes already. I've seen MJF talk about him. I've seen Kenny Omega talk about him. I've seen Pat Buck. Now you could say all those guys work for AEW and stuff, but they've talked about him because it's like and I don't know to pay a TNA over there. 'Cause I know MJF said something about you're not paying your wrestlers and everything. So why would you take food off their table if they have other bookings? I don't know what they're paying over there in TNA. I don't know if they're paying that much money like that. I'm not sure. But it's like, why would you change the policy now when it's like, what you had guys, people they still had shows outside TNA booking and whatnot. I don't know what you don't want your guys to get hurt or anything if you're trying to keep them exclusive. Like because I just didn't think this made a lot of sense, and I thought it made, like I said, it makes TNA look bad, and it's you have to look Carl Silva. It's like, why are you listening to these people here in a partnership? What are you taking orders from them? I think that's what a lot of people question, and I could be wrong on this, but it's just very questionable, and I thought it wasn't a good look going into the pay-per-view, and this guy deserved to get booed. He basically like a low rank Kerry Silkin from Ring of Honor.
I mean, I can't believe he did this, man. And it was a lot of good matches that people like myself were looking forward to. I mean, that I would have did anything to try to find those type of matches so you would watch. And here you are, you barely, like MJF said, you barely paying these guys. That's why people are up and leaving you with even in the chance of AEW or WWE, they leaving you instantly because you don't pay them, one. And two, you, I was just reading MJF quote, and he was like, "Man, you not allowing your wrestlers to grow." And yes, that's how they grow. You you over here trying to keep them under TNA and trying to keep them under the basically the WWE umbrella because we all know what it is, and you are becoming a pipeline, a straight up pipeline for the WWE. You ain't even trying to even hide it anymore. You are a direct pipeline to the WWE. You look at it. The evidence is there. You work with NXT. You know, you ain't even working with the main roster. You ain't even interacting. Only interaction you had with the main roster was um was Joe
Recording
Hendry
message
at
ENT
WrestleMania.
TW0 2
Oh, I'm sorry about
416131
that.
NKL.
Why is the doorbell going off? Keep going. Take over for a
And,
minute.
and so and then the other interaction was Saturday Night Main Event where you had Javon Evans and uh and and Leon Slater in a tag team title match. But other
The
than
camera
that,
isn't
it
responding.
just wasn't it wasn't no interaction with any main roster star. You are becoming a direct pipeline to the WWE, and there's no hiding it. And people are calling you out for it, and you straight up deserve every bit of that. Bus I mean, he a business guy. He not a wrestler. He not a former wrestler. He not a manager or anything like that. So he really don't know the wrestling business. You know what I'm saying? He not really up to it. So he looking at it as WWE it's the only it's the biggest show in town as far as wrestling, and we gonna just link up with them, and we're gonna make sure we don't we're gonna make sure we don't step on any toes of TKO. We don't step on TKO toes at all, and that's how they did it. So they didn't want to. They didn't want to work with the WWE direct competition, basically, because anybody can say, "Oh man, they not competition," but my goodness, you just made it look like that. And whoever in WWE has told this man not to have these matches, and to cancel these matches, and when everybody already paid for it off of their name. It was the Nick Nemeth versus MJF. They purposely paid for that so they could see that match, but he pulled everybody out, and that's the result, and you deserve it.
Yeah, and I'll say this last other thing. I think it screws with the wrestlers. I think it screws with the promotion, the promotions that booked this. And I know Nick Nemeth, they booked another match with him on the show because I think it's part of like Kurt Hawkins' promotion, Creative Pro. And I think both guys will still be there, but they got to do different things now, and stuff. So, and it's like you said, we've seen examples of like this before. Like you said, you talked about the Leon Slater, Javon Evans thing. I talked about this back at Bound for Glory. I thought it was a great match, but I didn't think you need to do that finish. I thought it was fucking stupid. I just felt like WWE's booking got involved, and I could talk about just with, like I said, with all the title belts of going to NXT people, like the Trick Williams thing, and people think I hate Trick Williams. I just didn't like the stuff with TNA. I didn't never say he's not over or anything, but I get the story what they were doing, but it was getting too many times. It's like, all right, how many NXT people are just gonna keep taking all the TNA titles? And not that, like, even right now, we'll get to that match later on, but it's not as bad because I was just seeing too many of these NXT guys on this show, and it's like we only see, like I said, we see the bigger um TNA guys on the NXT show and whatnot, and I didn't think it was, well, it kind of turned vice versa a little bit later on, but like I said, I just think that it's just this just kind of gives more evidence to it. And like I said, I don't even know why they put this guy out on TV all the time. If he wants to be the business guy, like be it from the back, I get showing your face, but him just sitting out there, he just looks disinterested. He doesn't want to be look like he doesn't want to be
He
there.
sound disinterested. Once you get to that part that what you gonna talk about, he sound disinterested. My goodness, I swear to you, man, I ain't never disliking anybody as much as I dislike this man right now. Like, wow, this guy is just, I don't know, man. He just rubbed me the wrong way. And the things that doing right now, and he rubs everybody the wrong way right about now.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people feel like now, it's like I said before, it's like, dude, what are we really doing this for? Like, is this even like for TNA, or it's like who are you doing this for? I think that's what really makes you question things about this, because I just think it doesn't make sense. Like I said, this is kind of, it just gives evidence, I feel like, out of the whole thing, and I just think it looked bad. Because I was like, why would you do this now all of a sudden? And that's why people think, it's like, I even said before, like, what are we watching? Are we really watching TNA, or are we just watching that's why people keep even think say right now, like, they feel like TNA's already been owned by them, but like secretly done, or it's being waited to be purchased. I don't know, okay? But like I said, I don't think this guy really knows what he's doing at the time, other than from a business perspective. but wrestling wise, like say what you want about Scott D'Amore and everything from his business and stuff, but like I
No,
think we said this, at least he knew what he was doing,
if
booking
anybody,
decisions aside.
I'm sorry, Bryce. I'm sorry, but I gotta defend Scott. I would love to defend Scott if you would let me. Because I swear to you, Bryce, he didn't do anything wrong. He was doing everything was going on the up and up. Do you remember? You remember everything was on the up and up.
And it was. He
It
was like
was.
he was the flag bearer. He felt like the hype man. He was rallying the troops like
And there
when
we
they brought
go.
TNA back. That's why I was so surprised when they fired him. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't you just bring this company back this month and he's already gone? And it was just so strange. And then I heard about like what he wanted to buy the company, but they wasn't gonna let him buy it. Even I did kind of question like, dude, if he was gonna buy the company, like um how much money were you gonna get for a TV deal and stuff? I don't know how much money he was gonna buy for it. I think one thing we have to, kind of go into also, I know it's a difference between business and wrestling. I don't know if they thought he wasn't doing enough good business of when it was brought back. Because yes, you want the company to grow. It's about money. Obviously, at the end of the day, you
Yeah,
want to sell
yeah,
tickets and make a lot of money and get a TV deal and stuff. Like I said, it was just so strange to me when they let him go. So I don't know if they, like I said, they must have thought he wasn't doing that great of a job, I guess. But I just think it was just odd. We literally just brought this company back to the name of TNA, and he's gone in the first month.
yeah. I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? And then now everybody is like, I eh, everybody is looking at this guy. I forget what's this guy's name again. Carlos
Carlos
Silva.
Silva. Carlos Silva.
Carlos Silva. Yeah. It's just he comes in. He comes in while it was still hot. And that's what it was. And let me capture this while it's still hot, and let me sell it to not sell it, but let me go to other businesses. I mean other companies and see if I can link on to them so I can see if I can get a TV deal. Basically, that's all that stuff was. Is for a TV deal to put. He allowed WWE to put them on I mean not TNA NXT, and he knew that was gonna be that's on TV, that's on national TV, CW, everybody watches it, everybody got this channel, you know, and so he knew what he was doing. He got it to on the business part. On the business part, A1. And he get an A+ on that. But when it comes down to wrestling, he don't know what he doing with that, and I wish he would know what he. I wish he know that he don't know, and at least hire Tommy Dreamer as a direct booker. You get what I'm saying? You got Tommy fucking Dreamer right there.
He is a booker of the show, I believe. Tommy Dreamer is on creative.
What is going on there? Do we got? Is he like Vince or something? Like everything got to go through Carlos Silver? uh, you know, because some of this stuff is not good.
No, and we're gonna get into that because our last thing I was gonna say, just looking at this whole thing, because what else could you really say was out of this? What we got AJ Styles back on here twice just to like what cut a promo and stuff.
And what that? Another favor that you probably gonna have to owe the WWE?
Yeah, because I was just gonna say, sorry, my mic clocked out for a second, but no, with AJ Styles, it's like I think a lot of people thought it was gonna be a match with AJ Styles with him, but it wasn't gonna happen. He was there to talk. It's crazy. I had this talk with Donovan, and he even said that, if it wasn't for this whole partnership with AJ Styles, would have even came back to this company just to even do this. Because I kind of have to question that. Because yeah, we know how this company was years ago with him. If you know the story to why he left TNA, yeah, it's different management nowadays and stuff. Because honestly, I thought he was gonna come back for a match, still for TNA. If this was gonna be the case one more time, I'm still not rule. I'm still kind of not dropping that out of my mind all the way to some extent. But I did have to sit there. It's like, yeah, like would AJ have really even been back on here just to do any of these type of appearances and not really lead to anything, even though it looked like it was gonna lead to a match at one point, but it didn't. And I think AJ said himself they wanted to do something, but then they stopped it because WWE gets involved. So I don't
Cause,
know.
'Cause WWE knows it would have did bigger business over there at TNA because that's his whole something ground. That's his thing. Yes, he spent 10 years with the WWE. Yes, but guess where he spent majority of his career. So I'm sorry, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It feel bigger. It feel a lot bigger over there. You get what you understand? It does feel a lot bigger over there as here than it would feel over there
Oh
in
yeah,
WWE.
the crowd popped when they heard "Get Ready to Fly." They popped big time. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, they when Get Ready to Fly was playing, like, yeah, everybody popped big for that. Like, come on, it was very excited to see TNA AJ Styles again. Like, I was
Yeah.
very excited to see TNA AJ Styles again. Like, hey, here and Get Ready to Fly. I would have liked to hear Evil Ways too, but Get Ready to Fly was just still cold anyways in general. So yeah, and of course I was gonna do a lot of big business. Me personally, I thought he was gonna do a match, maybe a Slammiversary or something, but in recent times I don't think so. Like I said, I'm still not ruling that out to an extent, but um I don't know. But take over real quick for a second.
Hey, I'm not ruling it out either. I want it to happen. To be perfectly honest, I'm mad that the WWE decided we're gonna try to lock him in with the Hall of Fame, and that was kind of bogus because they kind of knew they were gonna do big business for TNA and gonna help TNA launch if they were gonna do anything else. Man, because come on now, to be honest with you, that's let's just say he had a 6 week build to Slammiversary. You know what I'm saying? And if he had a 6 week build to Slammiversary, at least he could be on AMC at least four times out of that six, and that'll do big ratings for AFC instantly. So that'll be some of their biggest ratings probably throughout the whole year. And then after that, they'll do hella business for going into Slammiversary. That gate will be crazy. They'll probably sell out probably in the first 3 hours. To be honest with you, on that whole day, because having AJ Styles say he having one more match at Slammiversary against an opponent, up and comer that you could probably think of that could go toe to toe to have a good match with AJ, or you could think of a veteran that he haven't had these matches with. Nah, you could try to save some of those for the 4 weeks that I was talking about. You don't really want to say you don't really want to have him go against a veteran in Slammiversary. That's saved for a young guy who you build it up for the future. You don't really want to waste that. Yeah, throughout the 4 weeks, you could probably put him against
Yeah.
Frankie Kazarian. You could probably put him against who else? Eddie Edwards. You get what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Throughout the whole 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
you can really do a lot of business with AJ, and you know who knew that? WWE knew that.
I'll say this last thing before we move on. In my opinion, and I thought this last year's Slammiversary, I thought it would have been a good idea to do AJ Styles versus Leon Slater, the first ever X Division champion versus the youngest X Division champion. I thought that would have been a great idea. I know people want to see him go against Kazarian. I know it's not a lot of TNA originals in this company nowadays other than Kazarian, so it makes sense. Or it could have been a match with Mike Santana. I would have seen a lot of things happen from that, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to rule it out all the way, but I thought it would have went in that direction though, even at the time. I still feel like the only taste you got of AJ and Slater was at the whole John Cena last match, Saturday night's main event show. I thought it was only a taste of it. But moving on though from Silva and those controversies, let's move on to the actual pay-per-view. We do kick it off with Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander for the TNA X Division Championship. If Leon Slater, he has to reach May 15th to be the longest X Division champion to beat Austin Aries' record. I enjoyed this match. Obviously, this was a hot opener for the show. I knew it was going to be great way of starting off the show. Um, Listen, man, it's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff you see in this match, especially with Slater flying around all
Man,
over the
tell me
place.
about it.
Because even I thought, I almost thought Cedric almost had it with the lumbar check, but Slater got his foot on the rope, and I know they had Slater, not Slater, but Cedric act more cocky and everything since joining the system and stuff, even getting the title from the podium. Like he had kissed the belt and got into the ring with it, but Slater he basically stopped him, hit a Styles Clash onto the title belt, and then hitting his 450 Swanton bomb for the win. So hot opener to kick off the show. I know they've been trying to play up the whole night. Can the system take all of the gold since all of the system was competing throughout the entire night? But obviously that didn't happen right now, and Leon Slater still retained the X Division champion. So hot opening match. Definitely enjoyed it.
Uh, man, this was man. I thought I was gonna be like, man, this was gonna be my favorite match throughout the night. At first, at first, man, I was like, man, they came out hot, man. That was a good match. And that lumbar check, oh my goodness, man, that man went up to the moon with that lumbar check. Man, that was a good one. He sold that lumbar check very well. Leon Slater is a very good seller that he know how to really sell because they let Cedric have a long time of getting that heat. I'm going to be the next X Division champion. He got a lot of time with a lot of heat, but Leon Slater, he's a very good. He's going to be very 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 good. Um, I wanted to point out to you, you know, Leon Slater, he got the type of body that if he saw him really going to the gym and buff it up, he could get buffed up real quick, and he could go from a high flyer to a heavyweight in an instant. And he can have two different type of careers if he decides to do that. I was just looking at him, I'm like, man, he can actually be a heavyweight if he goes to the gym because he got that type of body to do that. But he going to be something else, bro.
Now, my friend said the same thing about him too, because like, and he kind of compared him like even with Javon Evans, like yeah, Javon Evans is skinny, but like dude is pretty jacked though and whatnot and kind of big. Like Slater, like say like if you like jacked up a little bit more and everything, like yeah, I know a lot of people say he's like really skinny and whatnot, but like yeah, he could kind of get close to being a heavyweight. But I've had a friend tell me that before. It's like I know they try to compare him and Evans, but like Evans is at least a little bit more like he's skinny, but he's jacked.
Yeah, he more of a rip type of guy. You know, I wouldn't compare the body type because even if Jabbar want to get Jack, he'll be more ripped than any day. He'll be that tall rip type of guy. Whereas Leon, if he goes into the gym, that guy could be like he could be big. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy could be big if he goes to the gym on a consistent basis. But I guess to keep him at his size, I don't think he goes to the gym as often, just to keep that size so he can, still be a
Flying
high
around.
flyer.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
flying around because the stuff he does is insane. I'll tell you, man, that Swanton 450 is still crazy. That
Yeah,
shit.
that shit is crazy, bro.
No, no, that's a crazy move, but that was a great opener for the show. Next though, we had Elijah versus Frankie Kazarian. If you saw last Thursday, for some reason they had Elijah walking with a kid through a cemetery, and then Kazarian Kate he paid the kid to distract Elijah so he could attack him from behind in a cemetery. I honestly had really no idea why they even were in a cemetery with a kid, and he paid the kid to distract him, and he's like, "This is all you get, kid." Mark or something like that. And yeah, I don't know. I know this feud has been going on for a minute, and I know they had Elijah had like a big like whoever was doing his like intro and everything, the ring announcer. I know they didn't even show him, but he had a very long intro for Elijah. And what got me about this match, because I know the crowd was kind of quiet at first, and they kept trying to use the guitar strap. I'm wondering, was this a no DQ match? Because the referee was fine with both of them whipping each other with a damn guitar strap, and the referee just kept letting it happen.
Nah,
Or
if
did I
you
miss something?
nah, I don't know if you were paying attention to how the commentators were trying to sell this match. they were trying to sell it like, oh man, the referee is being a little lenient to the rules. I guess he letting them go. I guess he don't mind them using the guitar scrap. And they were trying to figure out ways to make it make sense. But I was looking like somebody make it make sense because I did not hear there was a no disqualification match.
I didn't
And that
either.
looked like a weapon to me. And I don't think he's supposed to be using that, ref.
And like the guitar got involved in the match and whatnot, because like I said, they're both whipping each other with the strap, and then like Kazarian hit like a slingshot cutter onto the guitar then, which was like a near fall, and Elijah, I know he grabbed a piece of the broken guitar and was gonna hit Kazarian with it, but the ref took it away, and then Kazarian just ended up kicking Elijah in the nuts then, and cleared the guitar and just rolled him up then, and it led to a 3 count. So yeah, Kazarian got the win, but I was really strange. Like I was like, was this a no DQ match, or am I missing something here?
Yeah, I did not understand what was going on. And I was like, I was gonna ask you, I was gonna really ask you, and now I really wanna ask you about that damn cemetery skit that happened. You said it happened last week, right?
Last
So
Thursday, yeah, a few days ago.
so so what's the name? They were talking about it and stuff, and I was listening to it while they were talking about it. I was like, hold on, time out. Why they was in the cemetery for?
I don't know. It's like this ominous music is playing, and Kazarian, not Kazarian, but Elijah's walking with this kid. And then like Kazarian just attacks him from behind. He paid the kid off, and the kid like, "Hey, this isn't all what I wanted." And he says, "Hey man, tough business." And like Kazarian beat up Elijah in the cemetery and hit him with a guitar. I was wondering like, why were they walking? I don't even remember why they were walking through a cemetery. I'm like, why are they in a cemetery for? Why is he attacking? What? Why is this kid here? Were they going
Yeah,
to mourn somebody? I don't get it.
yeah, and then the random attack. Oh man, we just gonna attack this guy out of nowhere, you know. Yeah, and then I guess that whole setup is just for the setup Elijah. But at the same time, like man, if we could have make another way. We could have did it another way. Why the kid is here? Why the kid is around? Why the kid want to be around Elijah? Why Frankie paying this kid off? What somebody make it make sense. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, what's going on? you know,
Because I'm like, this feud's been strange, honestly, and I've seen like what Top Dollar get involved in the hometown man, and then they had a segment with Buff Bagwell and stuff. Because Bagwell, I told you he was on this show recently, talking about he's
yeah,
gonna
I
come
remember
back to
that.
do a match, which I really wonder how he's gonna do that. He only has like one leg. Like, not even being funny about that. Like, that's really true.
Right.
So I don't know. This feud has been odd. I know it's been going on for a minute now, so I'm assuming it continues, but I don't know. There's just the strangest stuff that happens. So I don't know. I don't have much to say about this. Just odd stuff right here. And like I said, Kazarian got the win by roll up and the guitar and stuff, but I guess something will happen next. I know they interviewed Santana in the back about the main event later on. Um, Alicia Edwards came up and talked to say we need to talk because I guess she knows what's going to happen. She knows Eddie better than anyone, so I guess they're going to talk about that. The next match, though, was I actually like this match: Special Agent Zero versus Moose.
Oh,
Uh,
I did too. I did. I like this match too.
Obviously, with the system and Order 4 making a deal, I guess they had a deal where I guess they wanted to take out Moose to get him out of the picture. And I know Moose has been fighting the system, but now like Order 4 got involved and Special Agent Zero, which, like I said, even during the entrance and whatnot, Special Agent Zero doing a big dive onto Moose as soon as this match even began. Like there's a lot of back and forth with both of these guys, which was crazy. I know they had a table set up. Moose had speared Zero through the table, even though he didn't kind of connect all of it all the way. I thought the dive was a little he got caught up on the rope a little towards the end, but they tried to make it where he could fall onto the table then and stuff. I know Zero went over the top rope again, but Moose caught him, power bombed him on like to the ring steps. Then I know basically the Great Hands came out and got involved into the match then by distraction. One of them basically grabbed Alicia and whatnot, which Moose ended up big boot him, but they both fell off the apron. And I guess Alicia hurt her ankle then. It looked like Moose picked her up and was going to carry her out of there and stuff. But Zero, and I got to say, this is very good precision right here by hitting Claymore kick basically on the Moose while holding Alicia. Both of them fell to the ground then. Zero hit like the big choke bomb onto Moose and then hit his choke bomb finishing the win to get the win then. I thought this was a very good big man match, and I think the right guy went over, especially since they've been making Special Agent Zero a big deal ever since putting him in the Order 4 being the secret weapon right here. So I think I enjoyed this. I think the right guy went over.
And the right guy went over. Don't get me wrong, Bryce. I do agree with that, but I didn't like the way that he ended up having to get over. Because sometimes, like I do feel like Alicia Edwards sometimes is shoehorn into some of these days. Like what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it's just, I think it could have been done another way because you already got the order four was out there. Not out there, but you know what I'm saying? They could have did something. They could have distracted moves or something like that. And I could, I
They
just,
were.
right. So why they couldn't continue? It's like it took like all of this for for him to get that win over Moose, and I feel like. It helped him when he paired Moose, but it didn't help him a, a lot when it took like everything but a gunshot to pair them.
Yeah, because I get it because there was a lot of distractions, and obviously the Order 4 always have like distractions involved in the matches and stuff. It's just like with Zero, they've made it to a point where like you can barely even knock this guy down because of how imposing he looks and stuff. I know it probably could have been a different way of doing it. I know there's a lot of shenanigans here, which I'm not too surprised with, but I don't know if they were just gonna like put him clean right over Moose. And some say Moose has taken a lot L's in recent times too, but they wanted to keep Zero looking strong because it probably would have hurt his gimmick then.
I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but at the same time, like you already booked the match, so you already should know that you want him to go over Moose. I feel like I was hearing that they were Agent Zero first match. Was I hearing it right? Cause
I
that
don't know if it's first a singles match. He's been involved in tag matches, obviously. This may have been his first singles match, I think. Don't quote me on that all the way.
because no, that's what I was hearing the commentaries was saying. And so I was like, if it's his first single match, I think it should have been against a guy that you wouldn't mind feeding him to. Like, excuse me, you wouldn't mind feeding to Agent Zero. You looking at Moose as a top star, so you do mind feeding him to Agent Zero. Because if you didn't mind, you wouldn't have had these all these distractions. But you knew that it was gonna make either one of them look bad if you didn't have these distractions. So it kind of looked like a 50-50 booking type of thing.
Like you don't want to beat Moose straight up clean, but if you like beating Moose, it's a big deal and stuff because you're pinning a former world champion and whatnot, and you want to make Zero look like a thing and stuff. But at the same time, you don't want Moose, I guess, just to straight up lose clean, given all the distractions and stuff. So I kind of get where they're going with this. I just didn't think it was. I just didn't think Zero was gonna beat Moose clean like that, though.
Oh, and I didn't expect him to do it, and I know he did it, but I just feel like these bookers kind of uh, uh, book themselves into a corner where you want to build up somebody, but you kind of you kind of push them all the way to the final boss quick. And I wouldn't call Moose the final boss, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if in terms of this, like, this guy haven't really been in any match. I mean, not any matches. He been in tag matches, like you said, but not no single matches that he had to hold his own. He should have had that. He should. I think this match should never happen, but it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. I liked the match. It's just I just felt like it should never happen this early in Agent Zero career.
I can kind of get where you're going with it. I can. I just because I was like, because even going in, so I was like, they can't really beat this guy right now. I just kind of felt that, and I don't know because some say Moose was easily distracted because like he has to help Alicia out of there and carry her off and stuff because he's concerned. We'll get to more of that in a few minutes,
Yeah, we
but
definitely will.
a
I,
few minutes and stuff. But I kind of
I
like how he got distracted. But like I said, it's like I get what you're saying, but it's like I think they just want to make Zero look strong and with the story and stuff. But I get what you're saying though.
yeah,
So, but
yeah,
I did enjoy the match though.
yeah. Me too. I definitely enjoyed the
Enjoyed
match,
it.
but
So
yeah,
good,
definitely enjoyed
really good stuff. Next though, I think you said you skipped over this, but we had
it.
the consigliere out there, the concierge for the Elegance brand with a pickle. I'm not a pickle Dick sign, pickle Rick and Morty if you watch it. Talk about Cleveland and everything, and we moved to South Beach like LeBron because Ash was glad to get out of this town. And then the Elegance brand came out with this weapons and stuff because it's a hardcore country match, by the way. So it's a 6 woman tag, anything goes. Obviously, this whole feud has been what Ash doesn't like being called a mark because Mickie James called her a mark because she kept arguing with people on the internet and said like, "What are you, a mark?" And then she took off time because of mental health of being called a mark. And now we've pulled in other people now like ODB and Taryn Terrell into this feud. And they came out with weapons. Mickie James always gonna get a big pop. She had a Mark bucket sign. Listen, what can I say about this match? Chaos. There was a lot of weapons involved and pouring out suckers like it's like they're like supposed to be thumbtacks, but it's a bunch of lollipop suckers out there. I don't know how that's supposed to hurt you. And even like getting involved with the fans outside, like ODB taking a drink and like spraying in one of the Elegance brand face. I know they had kendo sticks. It's a lot of weapons throwing buckets on people's heads. The that other guy, the one that's with um the Elegance brand, what is the Jack?
You talking about Mr. Elegance?
Yeah, he gets involved and like they use like something to like grab his nuts or something like that. They hit him in the balls with. Even the people start to chant pickle dick and everything. And he slammed the consigliere into like pickle juice and stuff, threw his face into it. Um Fans started to chant pickled in. I know Taryn Terrell like she dove on like to the heels and Mickie James and ODB. I'm trying to remember what else. Like ODB was like going after Ash and whatnot, slammed into like the lollipop stuff, and her and Mickie James did like the what's up, like the Dudleys and everything, the whole what's up spot. Um, it ended up with Ash. She used some hairspray on ODB, and then like knocked her down, and all the Elegance brand pinned her and won the match. So the Elegance brand won.
So, so they put them over. I guess
But
it.
but but there's more.
Oh, but there's more. Oh, my bad.
Right after the match, President Cuckold comes out here with Tommy Dreamer, and the fans started chanting ECW, and they telling everybody, told the Elegance brand to get out of the ring and stuff. And they're coming to the ring while everybody's cleaning the ring. And I'm wondering why Dreamer and Cuckold here were coming out here, Silva. And they talked about ODB then, and like we want to see you again, ODB, but not like this. We want you to be all dressed up. Because now, at Bound for Glory, ODB will be going into the TNA Hall of Fame. And fans chanted, "You deserve it." Kind of crazy to say that when she just lost this match. And ODB talked about, her food truck partner, Big Al. And she talked about she's been in this business for 25 years and she's not done yet. And she thanked all the knockouts in the back. And, keep doing what you're doing and great and all that. So she just thanked the fans. So, yes, ODB will be going to the TNA Hall of Fame. But this match was chaos, though.
I saw that part, right? That's the part that I saw because I skipped all the whole match until I saw Silva, Carlos Silva. And that's the part I was talking about. He sounded so disinterested. He like, did you hear how he sounded? He barely even said ODB name, right? Like, my goodness. Get this man off of TV, man. Keep him off of TV. You
Yeah,
know,
because
he don't need to be on TV, man. Just
he
own the
doesn't.
business.
He doesn't. Like, no, I swear to God, he doesn't need to be out there. He just sounded disinterested. You could barely hear him. Like, hey, ODB, we want to put you in the TNA Hall of Fame because what you've done for this company. And I'm like, dude, you could have just had Dreamer out there and do this. Dreamer could have just been out there by himself, or just don't even give Silva the mic at all. Honestly, he just doesn't need to be on. Like I said, this guy's out here when when title matches are happening, and the way he even gives the people the titles is just so. I said this already. He looks so defeated and disinterested. And it's like I'm like, dude, he does not need to be on this show this many times. Like, you want to do the business running back, yeah, maybe come out once in a while, but like, dude, he's on this show every week, and no, he sound very disinterested though. They could have just had Tommy Dreamer do this and would have been fine. Just let him
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. That's hey, I totally agree with that because it, he just sounded like he just didn't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. You know, nobody forcing you to go out there look like some random nobody and pretend like you don't care. You know, like that whole little intro. I mean, the whole little the introduction of ODB going into the Hall of Fame, you could have did it a lot better. Tommy would have did it a lot better.
Tommy was doing it a lot better, like bringing it in, like just coming out there and talking. But like they
Like,
once they gave him the mic, Silva the mic, and he says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna see you Bound for Glory. You'll be entering the TNA Hall of Fame." Like the fans, cheered and they chanted ODB and stuff, and that was nice to see. And I think she deserves it, because she really was a pretty big staple of the knockouts at the time in this company, and stuff. It was really over, but no, I just don't need to see Silva though. Like I said, he looked just disinterested in all of this stuff. But nah, ODB going in. Good for her though, for real. She deserves it.
yeah, most definitely she deserves it.
But yeah, this match was chaos though with Mickie James and Terrence. I'm honestly even surprised to see Terrence Terrell back in this company.
Me too. Me too. Seriously.
The last time I think she been a stunt woman this whole time ever since she left the company. It was years ago now, but yeah, it was still good to see her back though. But like I said, this match was just chaos though. Um, but moving on. I know they showed Elayna Black. I guess she said she's going to keep an eye on the Knockouts title match because she's talked about her numbers and how much money she's making. I'm like, what, you back on OnlyFans again? You say you didn't make $5, $100, 10,000. Like, damn, niggas paying that much money to see you. Like, I get you hot, but didn't she say she was like the highest paid woman at one point on OnlyFans from wrestling?
Yeah, huh? Yeah, and remember, Mandy had claimed that at one point. Remember, Mandy had claimed that same claim at one point that said that she was the number one highest paid woman or whatever she was doing. Remember, she wasn't even on OnlyFans. She was on another site, and she was like the highest paid person on that site.
Yeah, I think it was called Fan Brand Army, Fan something. I don't remember the name of the website, but nah, like Mandy Rose did make a lot of money, especially after she left. She made like 1 million, I think, that fast
Yeah,
from her leaving and stuff. So, and then again, like I said, I know Lena Black, Cora Jade. I guess she stopped now, OnlyFans, which I think I already said this before. Like, dude, if you say like it's weirdos and stuff, I'm sorry, that comes with the territory. So it's like that's what a lot of these OnlyFans models always gonna be some weirdos and stuff. Yeah, I know it's right. You don't want that to happen, and that's true, but like, dude, like, wasn't you just bragging about money and you bought a house and bought a expensive car with it? So I don't know. I guess the gimmick now, maybe it's probably the gimmick, but it's like, dude, everybody knows you really did it. So it wasn't no surprise she went to OnlyFans. Come on, we know people was gonna pay to watch her. Obviously, she's really hot. So then again, we know people gonna do that right now. Like, especially like when women leave wrestling or involve wrestling and start doing OnlyFans. You know these people gonna flop to go pay thousands of dollars to see these people. Why? I don't know how much he really was gonna get out of it, but
But you gotta remember, Bray.
hustle is a hustle.
But
I
you
can't
gotta
knock the
remember.
hustle.
Now, I was gonna say you gotta remember these are the same people who pay thousands of dollars just to go see them and and take their pictures and stuff like that. You know, take the pictures with them. These are the same people, so I wouldn't put it past them now. You know, once you see how much money they will go do, they go pay to go watch them or to go to an event or to go to some type of not contract, autograph signing or a picture event. They pay all this money to do it. You know damn well they'll pay all this money to go see these women just in some type of lingerie. And that's all they'll do. You know, these are the same people.
I will say this when it comes to the OnlyFans with her, it's like I say this, like, dude, she's not gonna get naked. Close to it, but she's not gonna get naked and she's not about to fuck on camera. So
And that's exactly because she knew that if any day fails and all days fail, I can go back to wrestling, and I need to keep my image looking not clean, but at least clean enough for wrestling to take me back. You know, and because if you saw her doing that other stuff on camera, man, I don't think TNA would have even took her back.
hell nah, nah, if it went too far, but I just thought it was kind of crazy. She said she was done with it because of what apparently weirdo fans. I'm like, yo, I'm sorry, but that come with the fucking territory. Like it does, but like I said, she didn't go far enough. I know she worked with Mandy, so like I said, pushing the limit to some extent, but not pushing it all the way. But I just remember her bragging. I guess it's part of the gimmick. So I made $5, I made 100, now I made 10,000 in under 5 minutes. We know why, but good shit though. So I just thought it was funny she said that. That's why I was like, "You back in OnlyFans again?" I'm like, "Okay, money is money." But just like I said, she keep a close eye on the Knockouts title and stuff. Next was Nick Nemeth versus AJ Francis. AJ Francis coming out there, probably the I don't know what number person of this tonight to go talk about. Um, Cleveland. Looks like everybody's been talking about Cleveland tonight with good reason. But yeah, it was AJ Francis versus Nick Nemeth. Basically, the story is that somebody took Nick Nemeth out back at I think it was Sacrifice at the Plus show, if I'm not mistaken. And Francis was this one that said he took out Nick Nemeth, and this is Cleveland, so this is Nick Nemeth's hometown and stuff. So obviously the crowd is going to be behind him and everything. Obviously when he came out, he got a big pop, and he came out with former NFL quarterback Bernie Kosar within his entrance. Obviously, Nick stopping and say hello to his parents and all that stuff. This was enjoyable. I'll say like it was to like I said, people are gonna be behind the hometown man and everything. Not the gimmick. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. But obviously, Francis getting a lot of power moves on him. Fans chanting "Let's go, Nick" and everything. Nemeth, trying to dodge a lot of like choke slams, hitting a famous sir and stuff. Even trying to go for like the danger zone, the zigzag and everything. Fans did start to chant, "This is awesome." So the crowd was really into this match. Nemeth doing a suicide dive to the outside, but Francis getting him with a choke slam onto the floor then. Francis, taking chair, trying to throw in the ring. The referee took the chair from him and stuff. And then, like, he turned the chair. Ref, like, yelling at him to get the chair away from him. Francis hit the referee from behind. Don't know how that's an immediately disqualification right there once you hit the ref from behind. But AJ grabbed the chair then. Bernie Kosar got in the ring then. And, they putting up the 3-point stance and stuff. So, like I said, it looks like I said, both guys formerly in the NFL, Francis and Bernie Kosar, they're doing a 3-point stance and stuff. But then next thing you know, some entrance music hit. We actually saw the return of Casey Navaro. Casey Navaro, we haven't seen him since August. I think he had an ACL injury and stuff. And, he was walking onto the stage then, which Francis, like he was getting distracted for the longest of time so Bernie Kosar could hit him with the chair, which I felt like it was almost somewhat taking a lifetime at a point in time, but he hit him with the chair. It's just how slow it was looking in a way. But
I know, I agree. That's why I started laughing.
Like he was like taking forever just to swing that chair. Like he was really trying to set it up. I don't know how old the guy is, but he was taking a minute to set it up, and he hit him with the chair. Nemeth hit him with the danger zone and whatnot, and Navarro grabbed the referee, threw him back in the ring so he could make the 3 count. So, like I said, this was about Nemeth getting the hometown. He's the hometown hero and everything. He's from Cleveland and stuff, and he got the win. Casey Navarro, good to see him back since his ACL tear. So obviously, you're gonna have a match with Francis to continue because he kicked him out of the whole. I don't even remember what the group was. They were called now. The what was that group called? Francis and Navarro. What were they called?
Oh, oh, first, first flight,
First class. First class.
first
First
class.
class.
Yeah,
So yeah, and like I said, they got a Cleveland Browns legend out there too. So the crowd enjoyed this. They really did enjoy this because it looks like everybody's been healing against Cleveland all night with good reason. But yeah, yeah, this was good for what it was. So it was enjoyable. It was what it was, and like I said, Nemeth's from Cleveland, so he's the hometown hero here.
and there was a fun match. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Oh man, Nick is still a bumpy machine. My goodness, that guy is still a bumpy machine. Did you see that little? Did you see the bump that he took when he took that spear
Oh
from?
yeah.
Oh my goodness, he looked like he just got speared out of his shoes and socks. And I like how Nick always still, and he one of the best sellers in the business to me. We were talking about the age of Bernie. He's 62 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, he's 62 years old. So that's the reason why you probably saw him, try to, cause he, he is. He came from the era of NFL that they really let the people hit the quarterback. So he probably got popped a few times in that era. They said he sealed. And what kind of wild me was they said he sealed the record holder of the best quarterback in Brown history. Like, my goodness, this nigga haven't played football in 30 years. Like, but yeah, but all with the match was good, and like I said, I really enjoyed the match. It was fun to me, really. It wasn't like it was a wrestling clinic. It can't be. You got once a day, for instance, in the match. It can't be a wrestling clinic, but it was good for what it was. It was kind of fun to me, you know.
No, it was good for what it was. Like I said, it was about the hometown hero getting the big win, Cleveland and stuff, and Navarro with the distraction making his return and coming back after Francis. So, nah, good stuff. It was enjoyable though. So I liked it for what it was. Good stuff. Moving on, though, we go to the Knockouts title match. Ying Lee with Zaya Brookside going against Ariana Grace with Stacks out there. Lee immediately went after um, Grace and whatnot. I know they showed Elayna Black watching the match from the back. I feel like the crowd was kind of cooled down on this match a little bit later on, because obviously Stacks kept getting involved and they kicked Stacks out of there. Lee, she did end up hitting her finisher onto Grace and had the cover for the 2 count. But then next thing you know, the crowd did react big time. I think it was like after her like second finisher, because Grace tried to get the title involved, but the ref took it. And after she hit a finisher, Brookside ended up betraying Xia Lee, Ying Lee, and putting
Duh, duh,
Grace's foot on the
duh.
ropes, saying Brookside pulled her out and started beating her up then, and just start throwing punches at her, and then just end up throwing her back into the ring where Ariana Grace hit her knee strike and stuff. So I thought it was at least interesting that she got betrayed. And then, like, right after the match, Grace celebrated, and, President Cuckold there got in the ring, and she ended up just taking the title and taking his hat, too, his off brand hat, and just running back up to the crowd. So, yeah, we're still continuing this thing with Grace. I think you told me this before. I think Indy Hartwell would probably be the one to take the title off her. I would have said Danny Luna, but she's gone for the company, which that's a bit of a loss on them because I thought they would have put the belt on her. But the crowd reacted to the heel turn, so I guess I feel like Indy Hartwell eventually will get the title. Maybe it's Slammiversary. I'm kind of counting now.
Um, I wouldn't say this match was like bad or anything.
Okay.
Um, it was just one of those situations that I know the other person is not as good as the other person. I
One of
know
these things is not like the other.
it's not, and you get what I'm saying. What's the name? Santino's daughter is not as good as Lee, and I know that. And so I kind of looked at the match as like, okay, let's get to the point that we had her retain the title. Like, what screwy things are gonna happen? I should have looked at Zaya Brooks as like, hey, she not looking like the preppy person that she usually like, the preppy cowgirl type of person that she usually look like. Man, hold on, there's something is different about her look a little bit, and it was the reason why she about to turn heel. And she got a different look to her and stuff, man. The hair was a little messier, you know, and I was looking at that a little bit more, but um, they needed something to help Ariana to retain the title, and that was the thing. And she gonna, yeah, I still thinking that Indy is gonna be the one who take the title off of her. To be honest with you, they should just go ahead and pull the trigger down because nobody really interested in her title run. I mean, like you said, like, did you say that the crowd seemed like they were cooled off by the time this happened? Like,
Yeah, until the turn happened.
right, until the turn happened, and then oh my God, because they were thinking like, man, that was a shocking turn to them. They didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. And but they really wasn't interested in the match.
No, they weren't. I just think because of what's going on, and probably would like to see someone else win the title now. Like, so I thought it would have been Danny Luna. Even it was like a few weeks ago, and they had that live episode and had like several of the women walk out there during her match, like, Tessa Blanchard. Which even I gotta agree with you because I don't even know what they're doing with Tessa Blanchard at this point. I get why you didn't want to push her like fast. Like I said, I know we talked about her being back in this company because of what happened before, but even I gotta sit there and say it's like, yeah, we know she's really good, so it's like, are you gonna do something with her or not? Because even I don't even get what they're doing with her right now in her group she has, and I'm gonna get to them in a few minutes. But, um, you know, I'm about to say maybe she just needs to go for the title now at this point again.
Yeah, it got to the point that, anybody but Ariana Grace. It's like, to be honest with you, why do she got the title? Why is she the one who holds the title? It's like, it's just that they thought it was gonna be some heel heat because she's,
Santino.
yeah, Santino's daughter, and she getting favors and everything like that. But she gotta be at least good, at least something. She not really good to me, and I just think she just got a major push because of her father, you know. We seen that happen before, don't get me wrong, but man, yeah, she just not really good. That's really where the heat is coming from. The heat is not coming from, oh man, she getting a push because of her father. No, the heat coming from she not really good, and she getting a push because of her father.
I said this before about this whole thing. And I gotta get why they had her here because of her dad and whatnot. Even like what they doing with the storyline, because now what they suspended Santino and um Indy Hartwell because they beat them up on Thursday and everything. Even I think it's kind of funny. I'm like, well, Stacks does that. Like, they don't even work in this company. How you gonna suspend them if they're like, Grace and Stacks don't even work in this company? Like, how are they suspend? I thought that was kind of odd
Yeah.
and stuff. And I probably think it's gonna lead to some tag match or something like that, anyways. But yeah, I said this about Grace before, and I know they brought this up with her saying like she couldn't get any opportunities in NXT. Okay, well send her to Evolve then. Why are we sending her here?
Right, there we go.
That goes
Send
back to
her.
that whole thing we talked about earlier about why are we sending NXT guys here just to get reps? And you have Evolve. Like that's why people want to keep looking at this thing like it's another extension of developmental half the time.
That's exactly how people are looking at it, Bryce. Remember, I was just saying earlier we was before we went on air that it's like it seems like a pipeline for the WWE now, and that's how everybody's looking at it. Like, man, it's a pipeline for the WWE. You know, we gonna be able to get first dibs on the hottest stars that coming in into TNA. You know, that's how they gonna do it. You know, and if we don't want you, you can go somewhere else. But other than that, we gonna have the first dibs. Like you don't think they got the first dibs on Leon Slater?
Oh yeah, you know they eyeing him. They
Yeah,
eyeing
yeah,
him.
yeah, and so that's the thing here, and that's what people are getting mad at TNA because you are falling in line of looking like a developmental for the WWE.
That's why I said earlier when it comes to the whole booking thing with the stopping those matches with the whole policy thing. It's like, yo man, who's really in charge here? Like who told you to do this? Like you doing this on your own or you doing this because like somebody told you to do this? That's why this everybody's questioning it. And that's why I just bring in further evidence. That's why you see so many pissed off people about it. And that's why I said like earlier, I look at guys like Omega and MJF and Pat Buck. Like, yeah, they got some points here. It's a lot of valid stuff they saying. I can't get mad at them about that. So this is kind of furthers in on what we're talking about right now. So that's why I said like why did like dude you can't get opportunities on NXT? All right, send her to Evolve then. Okay,
Right,
I I
right.
I get why they put her around her dad to an extent. I get it, but it's like I don't know when she said that. That is really like why like okay go to Evolve. Why you got to why we need to send you here? So like did we see? I was at the time like dude I'm really getting tired of seeing all these NXT people on here. Like seriously.
Yeah,
So it's not as much like before, but just still in the title thing. So like I said, I still like think Indy's gonna take it. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on, no. Eric Young came out to talk about EC3, saying he was a Nepo baby and that, his aunt Dixie Carter, is not here anymore. Well, she's been gone from here. And he talked about Cleveland because everybody's talked about Cleveland tonight. Good reason. And that he hates the state of Ohio. And then EC3 came out to make his entrance. I don't know. I know some people think it was an audio thing or that the crowd didn't pop them that much. But the original EC3, the old EC3, he's not controlling his narrative anymore, folks. He has his trouble thing back. So he's back to the old EC3 again. He came out there. He had a face-to-face with Eric Young. They brawled for a second. EC3 knocked him out of the ring. And he says, I'm back. And he wants a match this Thursday on Impact. And he only had one thing to say, Cleveland, bitch. So that was the segment. So what do you think about EC3 being back in TNA again? Because we saw him a few years ago, but that's when he was kind of doing the whole new gimmick and controlling his narrative and stuff. What do you think about the old EC3 back again?
oh man, nah. EC3 is being back. He looked phenomenal, man. You know, in great shape. So it looked like he was, ready to come back at any time. Um, it can help the main event thing because I definitely think he could be definitely a main event guy instantly. Because of his background in TNA, because he was really one of their main event guys back then. So
He
I
was a
mean,
guy
yeah,
that he was a guy they really build up. They built him into a star.
yeah. So I think they can really do some business with him. You know, um. Good little segment for Eric Young to come out there, trash EC3. EC3 come out there, you know, come back, get his comeback, and then, hit a cut a promo, uh, talking about what the next match is going to be, so everybody can tune in this Thursday on AFC. So yeah, that was a good promo.
No, it's a good segment. It's good to see EC3 back. I think the last thing he was doing was in the NWA, I think. And like I say, he was trying to still doing that control your narrative stuff or whatever he was doing down there. I'm not honestly sure, but I am glad to see him back in TNA and he's back to the old EC3 again with the old theme song and stuff. So that was cool to see. Next though was the TNA International title on the line, Mustafa Ali versus Trey Miguel. I know like the entrance I thought was pretty cool with Mustafa Ali. 'Cause I know they had Tasha Steelz typing on a laptop, and like they all look like cyborgs and had these helmets on and stuff. which was pretty cool to see with the Order 4, like the whole cyborg look. Trey Miguel came out there, obviously, hugging like his family out there that was in the crowd. And I kind of like the whole story they've been doing because I know they had a whole bunch of Secret Service guys out there. Well, they didn't stick around with Mustafa Ali, but they left. One thing with this story was what was it? I remember like Ali saying Thursday, like, "Oh, you don't have the, can't say he didn't say the Rascal's name, but the Rascals aren't there anymore, and it's just him." I enjoyed this match.
Most definitely I did too.
I really liked it. When it comes to international title, I'm still kind of up and down on it. I still like the title belt design and all that stuff, and I know they're trying to get this title over. Personally, I feel like Mustafa Ali should be going for the world title. I still think he should be doing that right now. Um, I didn't because I was not like, okay, he's going for the international. Like I said, we kind of need him for the main event, guys. If you ask me, especially if, like I still think they could do him and Mike Santana again, especially the feud they had before, and kind of jump back on that. But I did like this match. It was a lot of impressive stuff out there, which was pretty crazy. I still like the whole, what was it? Trey Miguel jumped over him and like Ali slid into like the turnbuckle, like knocked his head and fell out of the ring then, which was pretty crazy. I like the turnaround Canadian destroyer and stuff. I know like Ali did like the 450, but Miguel shot up and hit him like a cutter, RKO, whatever and whatnot. When it kind of got towards the end, I know the Order for it got distracted and like one of the great hands used their helmets and hit Miguel in the head with it, which Ali did the 450 splash and won the TNA International title. So I enjoyed this match though. I'm assuming it's gonna kind of get some heat on Ali and see if he can elevate this championship.
Yeah, that's what I really thought it was too, because and I'm with you, man. I was looking like, man, should Ali be going for the world title? That's how I felt, but the same way I think, you know, that they should have done with the women's Intercontinental and the women's U.S. Championship and put it on an established person. You know what I'm saying? Once you put it on that person that's established, because Mustafa Ali is very much established, and everybody likes his character. So you can get this title over, no doubt about it. Have him have a little run with it too. Don't have it like have him drop it immediately. Have him have a little run with it before we go push him up to the world title because he most definitely needs to be there.
No, I agree. I think he should kind of be there at this point, especially how they've been building him and the whole Order 4 thing for a while now. So I thought they would have been kind of pushing him towards that. But like I said, I think it's just to elevate this title because, Trey Miguel basically immediately kind of got this belt as soon as he came back to this company, even though he left, then was apparently going to AEW, but then all this other stuff, controversy and whatnot. Then he was back at TNA immediately, like a week later. And then had a title then. So. I don't know, crazy stuff. But like I said, I don't mind Ali winning it. So like we'll see what happens. Like I said, I enjoyed the match. But I guess this probably will, get some interest in the title then. Like, with him holding it. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Uh but moving on, we had another segment, a cinematic segment. If you've been seeing for several weeks of Rosemary being able to bring so many people back into TNA right now, like Ali and Crazy Steve and, Father James Mitchell here, the Sinister Minister and whatnot, and several other people we've seen come back in several weeks with these segments. Rosemary, last Thursday, she was with, Father James Mitchell and, wanted to bring a monster back. And Abyss was back, the monster Abyss. And, I looked at this segment because they were in the undead realm, if you remember that whole thing in TNA. And it's kind of like I said before, they got Tessa Blanchard and them running around, her, um, Alicia Fox there, and I forgot the other girl's name. Her eyes were going for some reason, but it was mostly just about the Abyss and James Mitchell here. If you know the history of them and within this company, you know what Abyss and James Mitchell have done in this company, even getting Abyss to the TNA World Title. It even talked about their history and whatnot, and you don't mean apology, and you've been my family, and Abyss talking about the feuds and matches he's had against people like Sting and Christian Cage and AJ Styles, and doing the barbed wire massacre, even pointing up to the sky to pay a little bit of a tribute to Sabu and whatnot. And thought they had the best years, and I what you've been my guidance and all that stuff, and that they dominated TNA, and even did they old polls one time about this, destruction and stuff. Before Abyss, I guess, disappeared to go back to be a producer in WWE. And I guess I was glad to see him back, and he wasn't being yelled at by Bruce Pritchard this time. So, it was a nice little segment. I don't know where they're still going to keep going with Rosemary and these Undead Realm segments if you've been kind of following them along every week, but it was kind of nice to see James Mitchell and Abyss back together one more time.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Kind of tweaked me out a little bit. I thought I was seeing something else. I'm like, huh? Did they cut to something else? But it was real. It was kind of cool to see that though. Yeah,
Yeah,
they good
yeah,
callback.
yeah, and the crowd like gave a good applause at the end. I know it's been like I said, have you seen any of these segments? Because I'm like, where is this even going with Rosemary and bringing all these people back? So like I've seen like Raven on here, so like I don't know where they're going with this with her right now. But the a segment with Abyss, even a little bit of Decay back, Abyss, Rosemary. So it was nice to see because like I said, we know Abyss is producer nowadays in WWE and stuff. And he didn't bring his brother along. The hip Chicago lawyer himself, Joseph Park. I probably should have hired that guy. Yeah, like that guy knows how to win a case. This was better than seeing him getting yelled. Better than getting yelled by Bruce Pritchard, though. So
Yeah, of course.
so it was nice to see the Monster Abyss again. Next, though, the TNA tag titles on the line. The Hardys versus the System. Obviously, the Hardys were banged up from Thursday after they went against the Righteous in a tables match. And the Hardys won that match, even though they were basically beat up, and the Righteous still kind of attacked them after the match, too. Obviously, the crowd was going to be behind the Hardys and whatnot, and they were already taped up and bandaged out there. And the Hardys were about to get the win, twist the face, swanton bomb. But Myers ended up knocking Jeff off the ropes and stuff. And, they ended up getting Matt Hardy, and they did like a double finisher on him, and won the match. So the Hardys losing the tag titles, I felt like you had them forever now at this point for some reason. I thought they actually were going to drop it to the Righteous, but I'm like, okay, whoever was going to win is going to go to this pay-per-view. So the Hardys were already banged up from the tables match, and I guess, like I said, the System won, so they end up getting the title. So it kind of gives the System a boost right now, since they kept saying we're trying to get all the gold and stuff. But, they got a little bit of gold with the Hardys dropping the belts right now. I don't know if they're going to continue their feud with the Righteous since that's still been going on, but I had a feeling they was going to lose the titles given how banged up they were from Thursday.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt the same way once I heard what was going on and everything. So I like if you had the system due to the 40% Hardy Boys, then you just buried the system there. The system has to win.
Oh, yeah, because I'm like, the Hardys was taped up out there. They were bandaged up. So I was like, the System kind of had to win this right here and get a boost from it. So, like I said, they won the tag titles. Not much I can really say from this. So, like I said, the System walking away with a little bit of gold, because then that kind of transferred right into the main event then, which was Mike Santana versus Eddie Edwards, cashing in his Feast or Fire case for the TNA World Championship. The System came out, all the members, and they had a musical performance. Apparently that was downstate, because I was like, who are these people and what are they doing out here? And this song, for some reason, sounds worse live, for some reason. I don't know why,
He
but
said, "Dang."
I don't know why, but yeah, it just sounded really weird. Like, why do they have a musical performance? And Mike Santana doing his entrance through the crowd, obviously, saying hello to his daughter and whatnot. Uh, and this match here, which the crowd did get into this. I did kind of like how they were kind of telling the story. Both guys were tag team wrestlers before even ever becoming world champions and stuff, of how they started. Um, like I said, I did like this. I think it was a good match. I just never believed Eddie Edwards was ever gonna win this and whatnot. And I know both of them end up knocking each other down. Alicia Edwards came out on crutches then because she hurt her ankle earlier. Moose came out then and stood on the stage and pointed at the screen because early in the night, Alicia told Moose to like go get more ice and Moose was trying to get her to the hospital, but Alicia said she needed to be here for the main event. And as Moose left, Alicia just threw the ice aside as like, yeah, right. And then, basically say like, listen, we'll get Cedric the title later. Like, Bronson and Myers, they got the tag titles, and basically says now we got to get you the world title. Which, come on, I felt like she was gonna go back there. Like, what? I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, we
Your
did talk
wife is
about it not too long ago.
your wife is betraying you to go with the other guy, Moose. Even like I mean, Santana said in the contract signed Thursday, yeah, your wife left you for Moose and like
It,
being the manager for him.
we had a conversation about that not too long ago, and I was like, man, what's the end game? It has to have an end game that at least should go back to the system, and that's what it was, and that's why the whole thing didn't really make no sense that she had to do the fake injury day early in the night. Like that didn't even make any sense, because it wasn't like that she doing it and she's trying to fool anybody by the end of the. I mean, she's trying to fool by the end of the night, but you you were gonna have a pre I mean a pre-tape video in a match anyway. So what's the point of you doing that fake injury? It wasn't no point. And then Moose coming out, I didn't understand that part at all. Like Moose, why are you coming out? Like, what's your what's your deal is with I know you had something with Eddie Edwards, but this ain't even really your thing right now. It's the and then I don't know to you, Bryce, but my goodness, they gave everything to Mike Santana. My goodness, it's to the point that a falling meteor couldn't even put that man down.
Oh yeah, cause Moose like he walks slowly down that end, and then the system attacks him, and Santana did a dive on the outside, and then when he got back in, he got hit with a Boston Knee Party, and it was a kick out then, and then Alicia tossed one of the crutches in there, which the ref caught him, but then Moose ended up spearing Eddie, and clearing the crutch. Santana covered him, even though it looks like, and here's the thing, you could hear the crowd chanting, "You fucked up," then, because I think Alicia was supposed to break up the pin and stuff, because it was basically a three at that point. But the ref had to stop herself, and you know, you knew they botched that. Like the crowd started chanting, "You fucked up," then after that. And then the referee told Alicia like to leave and stuff. And then she starts arguing with the referee. And then Cedric Alexander gets involved in. And then Santana put him down. And Eddie hit like another Boston Knee Party for another near fall. And he kicked out of two of these things. And then Santana like he had it kicked in. And then Eddie hit like another, but like three finishers by the way too. But it just stunned on the third one. And like Moose is carrying Alicia in the back. And then Santana, like, I guess he had like a second spin to block in and won the match from there. And celebrated right after his Moose nodded in approval and stuff. So Mike Santana still defended the world title and retained. But dude, he took like what, three finishers and was still getting up.
I mean, my goodness. I was like, oh my God, I know to book the world champion show, but you just booked everybody else weak. That's why I was just thinking like, I don't know to you is I was conflicted because if you want to get something over, like Alicia Edwards going back to the system, I don't know if that you needed to do it tonight in that world championship match because you couldn't get that over if he lost that match. And to me, it kind of fell over like a wet fart, bro. Like all it's like all. What else you could do with this? You go back to Moose versus Eddie Edwards again? Like I don't know what to do with this. Because it's straight up done for him with the with Mike Santana. You straight up lost that clean as a whistle.
Yeah, and I thought
So
they, not to cut you off, I thought it was kind of, I don't want to say they rushed into this match in a way, because listen, we all saw what happened with Steve Macklin, and he got hurt, and they had to really stop that whole thing, and it's like they just moved on to Eddie, which obviously they'll probably run Macklin and Santana back in the future once Macklin is healed. Because I did think they kind of rushed into this once he got hurt, and he's already cashed in already. Well, I said we need something for the pay per view and stuff. So I don't know. I never believed Eddie Edwards was gonna win anyways, but it was a lot of shenanigans obviously involved in this match.
but you understand what I was saying though. Because the I think if you wanted to get it over by the time like if you wasn't rushing it, that's just saying they
Yeah,
wasn't rushing it and they had took their time and gave Mike Santana a few wins under his belt. In his title run. By the time he got to Eddie, and by the time they wanted to pull the trigger for Alicia to come back, he should have won the title by the time that happened. But you rushed it, and you couldn't get him the title because it's in the middle of a title run that you need to get over. You need Mike Santana title run to get over, so you couldn't just abruptly just end his title run. So I just looked at it as they just kind of rush everything a little bit. And what do you do now? Like, do you go back to the to the feud that you just ended? You just ended that feud with Moose and what's the name? I thought you did. Now you going back to it. What we doing now?
yeah, and it's like I get what you're saying because like you want to keep the belt on Santana, you don't want to take it off him. Obviously, in the middle of this run and stuff. Especially how they just did that, especially the stuff with Kazarian with him winning it, and then like, y'all don't do a show till later on after Bound for Glory, and then like he won it and he lost it when they come on, then he won it back like a few weeks later, the AMC because they needed that, and it's like you want this title run to actually kind of go on and mean something without having just immediately taking it back off of him. And I know they've had Eddie pin Santana in the past few weeks now. Because listen, I think this show came about really fast. Because Sacrifice was 2 weeks ago. So it's like they had to rush a lot of stuff to get to this pay per view. Honestly,
Yeah,
we just did a
yeah.
plus show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and I don't understand that was a whole rush job. You could have at least had it at least after Mania, you know.
Well, yeah, they could have waited. I don't maybe till Slammiversary or. And I know they kind of had Eddie was already trying to cash in on Santana before, anyways. But I don't know. I feel like it was some circumstances. I just think because of the Macklin stuff, it was like, okay, he's cashing in his world title shot at Rebellion. So, like I said, now it's like we put Alicia back. I didn't know how long they were gonna keep going with that, even though they were already kind of putting it out there throughout the night, anyways. I did wonder how long she was gonna stick around Moose, and then Moose just immediately found out that easily and just like in the same night, just showing the video screen and the rest of it of like she just throws the ice pack, and yeah, she's gonna stick with her husband.
Like anybody who didn't think that she was gonna go back to her dear husband was a damn fool.
I
Like
was kind of waiting on her to betray Moose after a while. I was waiting on it.
me too. I was too, and I didn't understand why she wanted to put on this good girl act. Like, oh my God, I can't believe my husband wanted to be the bad guy, so I gonna stay with you. We're like, no, no, no. You that's your husband. You going back to him. So of course I was ready for the betrayal, but I didn't think they were gonna pull the trigger this quickly with that betrayal.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna do it in the same night. I thought it probably would have been kind of building up a little bit more instead of doing it right there. But I expected Santana to still retain the title. So obviously this Moose feud with the system is still gonna continue, it looks like. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I figured Santana was gonna retain the world title though. Um, other than that, I thought the overall pay-per-view, it was a pretty good show. It was pretty long, I'm not gonna lie. I think it came on like if I count the pre-show at 6, it went off like at about 10:30 at night last night, I think. So it did kind of go on a little bit long, I thought. But I did enjoy the show. Like I said, the stuff I did like I said, EC3 Return was pretty good. I like the X Division title match, the international title match. Good for ODB getting into the TNA Hall of Fame. Um, the main event was screwy in some ways. Um, but like Santana retained. I thought the Nemeth Francis stuff was pretty good for what they had out there, with the hometown hero crowd and stuff. Like I said, I think the show was just good, but then again, it's like y'all just did a show like 2 weeks ago, so it's like y'all had to put a lot on here in general for the next 2 weeks. And I did like the Moose Special Agent Zero match also. So it does feel a little bit rushed, but then again, we got another rush pay-per-view tonight anyway, so we're rushing a lot of things right here on today. But like I said, I thought it was a good show. It
To
was
be
good.
honest with you, for it to be a rush show, it had quite a good quite some good matches on here. The exhibition title match with Cedric and Leon Slater was very good. Uh, I enjoyed the AJ Francis versus Nick Nemeth match. That was kind of a fun match right there. I enjoyed the the international championship match with Miguel and Mustafa Ali. I enjoyed those matches. I enjoyed the World Heavyweight Championship match to a certain extent. Like I said, he basically kicked out a lot of finishers, but I still enjoyed it to a certain extent. So for it to be a rush pay-per-view and what they did, it wasn't a bad one.
No, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was bad. I think it was a good show. I do still think what I said earlier about the whole controversy with the Silva stuff and the whole stopping booking things. I thought it wasn't a good look going into the pay-per-view, and I think he deserved to get booed. So, just separating that, I still think it was a pretty good show though.
Yeah, well, not too bad. They're pretty good.
But not really good show though. But yeah, other than that though, that's really all I got to say about this pay-per-view. Obviously, another pay-per-view coming up tonight. Probably do a solo review of that AEW Dynasty. That'll be in the next few hours, so get ready for another marathon show tonight. And obviously next week is WrestleMania 42, which obviously there'll be a review for that because man, it's gonna be a lot to say about that show, especially how we even got to this show. But we're gonna save that to when we get there because it's so many things to say about the disaster of how that's going right now. But overall, though, like I said, I enjoyed the show. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Oh no, man! I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back for WrestleMania, no doubt about it. And I'm gonna watch. Dynasty tonight too. But I'm definitely gonna be back for WrestleMania, and I can't wait. I ain't gonna lie to you. Even though it's gonna be a lot to say, I want to say a lot of things about what's been going on and this build to WrestleMania. But I can't wait.
So yeah, same here. So yeah, it's gonna be definitely a lot to talk about next week, though. But other than that, though, subscribe on Twitter, HoodNight890. Like I said, just check out the review. Like I said, hit the notification bell, hit that like button, and yeah, we definitely will be back next week, and I'll probably be back for a Dynasty review maybe later on tonight or tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, though, we out of here. See y'all later. Peace out.